Peter Shive.
I'm Gail Shive.
I think what sold me on it was I just liked the looks of it. It was a bit like the house I grew up in. I liked houses where you go upstairs to go to bed. All the bedrooms are upstairs. I liked the location. You know, I've been able to walk to work in 3 minutes for my whole career. I was a professor in the geology and geophysics department.
I was a speech-language pathologist and worked for a number of years in Walden, Colorado, and a little bit here in Laramie. I've always been a painter, and so I just focused on that the last several years. Well, it was built in 1914 by Charles Frazer.
Yeah, there's something interesting about the timing. When I was working on underneath the front porch, I found a newspaper that had the story of the sinking of the Titanic. I'm sure the Titanic went down before 1914, so maybe it was an old newspaper they were using.
Charles and Margaret Frazer moved here on September 15th, 1914. And they lived here only 4 years, according to what I found, and they sold it to Charles and Elizabeth Clark in 1918, and then they lived here 11 years. Charles Frazer was a sheriff, county sheriff for 2 terms, and before that he was an IRS tax collector. So 1937, George and Marion Forbes moved in here, and he was, I think, vice president of the bank. Wallace and Jan Biggs bought it.
They subdivided the lot and built the house next door for them to retire into when their kids were grown. He was chairman of the journalism department. I think he came here to start that department up, and they bought this house in '46, right after the war.
Yeah,
they came out from Pennsylvania.
This 1.5-story Craftsman-style bungalow is sided in clapboard and has an eave-front roof that extends and flares slightly on its east slope to encompass a full-length open front porch, which is supported by 4 large square clapboard-sided piers. Connecting each pier are gently sweeping arches, and a row of dentils wraps around the porch above the arches and below the roof line.
As you come in, though, there are those 2 wings that stick out from the stairs, and they are fluted. They're curved outwards at the bottom. When we had the house remodeled, most recently, I had that all rebuilt. I would say interior, the beamed ceilings, the separation of these rooms with this kind of bookcase divider and the columns, the archway that separates the entry hall from the living room, and the oak floors.
For years it was white with black trim. The walls of the house and the trim around the windows and doors are arts and crafts. We had all the downspouts and gutters made out of copper, and that's a quality piece that just really nice, and it goes really well with that Victorian red color.
The historic district, I thought, bingo, it's all coming home. You know, it's perfect. If I never would have dreamed of it originally, but if I had had a dream, that would have been it.